friends. Welcome to Sky House Herbs podcast. I'm Ashley Elenbaas, a clinical herbalist, and in this space, I share my knowledge and experience with plant medicine to help you on your own journey of healing and transformation. Join me in exploring the ancient wisdom of plant spirit medicine and how it can be used to heal the body, mind, and spirit. We'll talk to experts in the field and share stories from people who've been transformed by powerful plant allies. New episodes are released each Monday, so please subscribe. And now, let's explore this mystical world of plant medicine together. Hey everyone, welcome in. Today we're going to be talking about companion planting. These are the herbal besties, and knowing which plants like to grow together will help you have a successful growing season. The interesting thing about companion planting is that it's not always obvious, and it's not always just things that grow naturally together, say on a prairie or in dry lands. That's sometimes the case, but sometimes it's more subtle than that. And I'm excited to share with you both the practical reasons why some herbs grow really well together, and then some of the more subtle metaphysical reasons why certain herbs like to grow together. Before we dive into today's content, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please take a moment and click the subscribe button. Also click notifications, and that way you'll know every time a new video of mine posts. If you are in the Minnesota area, we are hosting a summer solstice gathering on Saturday, June 21st. I'd love to see some of you who are local or in the area come join us. This is a free event in downtown Minneapolis. We will share herbal tea, fellowship, and silent meditation together. You can go to skyhouseherbs.com, click on events, and find all of our upcoming events in person and online. You can join us for our upcoming garden gatherings here in our home Sky House Gardens. And lastly, our Year 2 Herbal Apprenticeship course is now open for enrollment. If you are already versed in herbalism, maybe you've taken my Year 1 apprenticeship course, you want to go deeper into herbs, how to use them, how to formulate. This Year 2 course is for people who want to take it to the next level. Go to skyhouseherbs.com and click on courses, and you can learn more. I'll include a link below. Today's talk is titled Companion Planting Medicinal Herbs, Best Pairs for Growth, Healing, and Spirit. And what I hope to do is to show you which herbs grow well together, and both the physical, the biochemical, and ecological reasons, but also these more metaphysical and energetic symbolic reasons why these herbs pair very nicely. I just ran down to my garden to pick these herbs for you so I could show you. They might be a little bit wilted now. However, I think it's nice to see the herbs as I'm talking about them. The first herbal pair are chamomile and mint. So I have a spearmint sprig here, but really this is true for any mint. Peppermint, spearmint, apple mint, any mint. They grow really well next to this beautiful flower, which is chamomile. These herbs both grow pretty fully, and when you plant them together, I wouldn't plant them super close because they will crowd one another out. However, if you plant them in the same bed, you'll get this nice fullness from your mints, and then above it, you'll get all the flower heads of your chamomile. And the medicinal parts of each of these are important. The chamomile, the only part that we use medicinally are the flower heads. And for the mint family plants, we can use anything that grows above ground. That's the stem, the leaves, and the flowers. So why physically do these two plants work well together? Well, chamomile releases natural antifungal and antibacterial compounds into the soil, and this can boost the immune system of nearby plants. Mint can repel insects like aphids and flea beetles, and these can sometimes bother and damage the chamomile plants, especially those very fragile chamomile flowers. Together, you pair them and you have this great blend of soil protection and also above ground protection. But what about the metaphysical reasons? Well, it's interesting because chamomile is naturally a very calming plant. It has this very relaxing, nervine quality. It's really good for sleeplessness. It's really good for anxiety. But on the other hand, we have mint, which is a more uplifting herb. It has an energy that it lifts your energy up, and it can really awaken and revitalize the spirit. What's kind of neat about thinking about these plants together is that you've got the energizing plant kind of coming up from down below with all this green foliage. And then you have this relaxing herb that's growing above that sort of keeps the energy compact. So you kind of have this above and below energies coming together. And I like to think that plants like to balance one another. Another reason why these plants might grow well together is because they were both historically given rulership by Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of communication. And both of these herbs are really helpful for the nervous system, agitation, and more effective communication. Now, sometimes we'll see that the mint family plants are given rulership by Venus, which is the goddess of love and beauty, and that's mostly due to the mint's beautiful aromatic smell. So I like to think about this sort of Venus-Mercury energy in the mint, and then this very mercurial, kind of curious, but also thoughtful energy of chamomile as like creating communication between the two. So there's definitely a symbiosis and something that works really nicely with these herbs. The next two plants that work well growing together are Yarrow and Echinacea. I brought a Yarrow plant from my garden. This is the classic Yarrow, Achillea millefolium. You can see these beautiful feathered leaves and umbelliferate flower heads. These ones are about to bloom, so I picked it right before it bloomed, which I felt kind of bad about, but there's plenty more in the garden that will come into full bloom in the next few days. I don't have any Echinacea plants because those tend to bloom a little bit later in June and early July. A lot of us know Echinacea. It has that tall stem and bright purple or light purple flower with the cone-shaped head in the middle. The physical reason why these two work together is because Yarrow attracts beneficial insects because it's a great pollinating plant, and it improves the essential oil content and vitality of neighboring plants. On the other hand, what Echinacea can do, it has these very deep tap roots, which can break up the soil. That helps the soil to become more aerated and can help the other plants in the soil access more minerals. We can give this tap root breaking up energy to help a plant like Yarrow pull those nutrients up into its body. From an aesthetic perspective, having these beautiful white umbelliferate yarrow flowers growing next to these big purple cone flowers is quite lovely. And I love seeing these two side by side. The interesting thing is that in nature, these often grow together as well. I remember when I was out on Isle Royal camping, there were open fields where there were yarrow plants and echinacea just growing side by side on the hills. And they grow like this in nature. And I think they make good friends for those reasons. Another interesting reason is they are protective. Yarrow is known as a plant of helping with boundaries and protection, especially for people who work as a healer or in the field of medicine, because it's supposed to help you know what's your stuff and then what's your client's stuff and create those nice strong boundaries. And then we know that echinacea is a wonderful immune boosting herb. So here we have these protective boundaries created by yarrow, and then this beautiful deep resilience building activity of echinacea. Perhaps maybe on a more subtle level, these two plants are helping us build resilience, fortitude, and better boundaries in how we work with others in the world. The next two plants are these cute little pair. This is Borage and Calendula. Let me zoom out so they can come into focus for you. So we have Borage, which is the blue flower, and I often remember it as Borage for courage. And then Calendula is a great plant of the sun. And so we kind of have a little bit of this shyness with the Borage. So Borage's head, if I were to hold it up, its head naturally is going to face downward. And you can see the little seed buds. Can you see how fuzzy they are? They have like a little fuzzy coat on them. So they have a protective coat because they're shy and they're fragile and they're delicate. And then on the other hand, we have this bright, bold flower, the calendula, definitely ruled by the sun here. So this is a very solar plant, and its name calendula has to do with the calendar and how this plant was used to keep track of the solar day and the solar season. So we have more of a yin plant and a yang plant, but they grow really well together. And the colors, they are actually opposite colors on the color wheel, and they work really beautifully together in a garden plot. So let me tell you a little bit about why physically they work well together. Calendula can deter some root knot nematodes and can overall improve soil health. And borage brings up trace minerals up through its deep roots, and it acts as a dynamic accumulator, and that can help to enrich and improve the soil of plants nearby, like calendula. On a metaphysical level, we can think about both of these as being plants of upliftment and of courage and resilience building, not so much of the deep immune system and boundaries, but these two are really of the spirit. They're spirit lifting and spirit building herbs. Calendula definitely ruled by the sun, and borage was given rulership by Jupiter, but they both really enhance our emotional landscape in giving us that ability to really stand up tall and to be strong even when we're shy, and to be humble even if we are bright. And I love that combination. These both also will volunteer in disturbed soil. So sometimes they'll actually just show up together in that way because they both like to heal soil that has been harmed. Next, we have two herbs, and I'm going to hold this one upside down because it is really wilted. This is lemon balm, and it's a baby. It's just a baby lemon balm. They're just starting to come back after being asleep in the winter. This is Melissa officinalis, and here we have Valerian or Valeriana officinalis. Lemon balm is a little bit of a more delicate plant. It doesn't like full sun. It likes to have a little shade. So companion planting, we can have something very tall like valerian, and these leaves get really big. It'll have these big umbels and these big wide leaves, and it can provide shade for this more delicate plant, lemon balm, below. That is one of the reasons they work well. Also, the volatile oils in lemon balm can repel gnats and mosquitoes and other bugs that can damage the valerian and just kind of make your garden not a place you want to be, because I don't know anybody who wants to hang out in a garden full of mosquitoes. You also kind of have a little bit of a stinky smell from the valerian. And if you've ever tried to drink valerian tea, a lot of people say it tastes like old gym socks or like dirty gym bag. It kind of has this musky, stinky smell to it. The flowers, I don't think, are quite as bad. I think the flowers kind of have their sweetness to them that's different than the root, which is, I have to admit, it is quite stinky. These two herbs do wonderful things for relaxing us and calming us, but in very different ways. Valerian is a wonderful plant for sleep. It's been used for centuries, and we're talking again about the root, even though I'm showing you this beautiful flower. Look, you can see a few of them open. The root is used as a sleep medicine and as a nervine. It is really good for people who tend to run cold, who sleep cold, who feel cold when they're trying to fall asleep, who maybe are depleted, deficient, are exhausted. Nervous exhaustion is one of the things I think about when I am considering giving someone valerian. It's really good for that cold, depleted type who needs help relaxing and falling asleep. On the other hand, lemon balm is a wonderful relaxant, but it's better for people who have social anxiety, who have difficulty opening up in groups. It is uplifting without being stimulating. And so that's a really nice combination. And it can work well for people who run hot, people who run cold. That doesn't matter so much with lemon balm. But most people think about lemon balm as being this beautiful, lemony, uplifting herb. And that is true. And it's uplifting in a relaxing way. So they both have the ability to relax, but for the right purpose and the right person at the right time. And I love that about herbalism, is that we can get very specific in who these herbs are good for. Next, we have two very aromatic herbs. I'm just smelling them while I'm sitting here. We have basil and thyme. Most Mediterranean herbs grow really well together. This is because they're from similar environments. They're used to growing on rocky hillsides in the Mediterranean, in mountains, but also along cliffs on the sea edges. These two plants are very aromatic. They support each other through their volatile oils, also through their root structure, which is not very expansive. These roots don't grow too wide out of their general area, which is nice. They seem to really know how to hold space for one another. And then the volatile oils emitted by the plants also protect one another from aphids and insects and mold and powdery mildew. We also have a differing of plant height with these. We have the thyme that tends to grow more along the soil, and then our basil tends to grow upward. And so they can grow really nicely next to each other. And that's how I have them in my garden. In my garden, I have my rosemary, thyme, basil, sage, all of my general cooking herbs. I grow them together and they're very, very happy. Our last two companion plants are the now out of flower violet. And violet has these gorgeous heart-shaped leaves, which are very mucilaginous. And we have lady's mantle, which has these kind of cupped, oh, look, I've got a spider on me. I'm going to put you over here, little man. This is lady's mantle. It has, I just love the way the leaves are shaped. And they make these little cups, and then the raindrops fall and they gather on these little cups. And both of these grow well together because they are shade-loving plants. Both of them really like to have mostly shade. And so they can grow well together because of that. And also just because they both are very good herbs for softening the spirit. Lady's mantle was traditionally used as a female tonic herb for helping to tone the uterus, to help hold a pregnancy, especially when there is excessive bleeding during the menstrual cycle. And on the other hand, we have violet, and these leaves and flowers were used as a moistening agent for vaginal dryness, digestive dryness, and are overall a wonderful tonic anytime you have tissues that are very dried out. So that's kind of opposite, because we have something that is very toning and drying and something that is very wet and moist. And we can even kind of see that how thick the element of water is very strong in these wide, thick leaves versus the air quality that is stronger in our lady's mantle, this little alchemist plant that is very magical and has been used as a talisman for women's healing for centuries. So I would grow these two together because of their love for shade and their love for deep female womb healing. The last herb I want to share with you, and I know this isn't a companion plant, but this is just one I think every gardener should know about. I plant this in every single bed that I have. These are Mexican marigolds. They are different from calendula. So you can see the difference, hopefully. The calendula has like a flower head in the middle, and then all the petals are out and around, whereas the tagetes, or the Mexican marigold, doesn't have that center head. The smell is also quite significantly different, and the medicine is different. Calendula works really well, as I mentioned, as a solar herb. It helps to dry up excessive lymph and issues of the skin. The reason why I think everyone should grow this particular flower in their garden, it is probably one of my favorite and most effective insect repellents. And here in Minnesota, we have mosquitoes. Some people joke that mosquitoes are the national bird. So I think that's kind of funny because our mosquitoes are very large. One of the best ways to keep them away from your property, besides making sure you don't have any pots or bowls or anything or lids that are holding still water, that's a big no-no if you want to keep mosquitoes away. Second thing is to have marigolds around your house. They are wonderful at repelling all kinds of insects. I remember when I worked on a farm in Costa Rica, we would hang these from the rafters to keep bats out of our sleeping quarters, which they were all over. Another reason is because they're protectors of the spirit, and they're considered to be protectors of the home. This plant was used in ceremonies and festivals of the dead in Mexico. It has a connection to the ancestors, and I always think that having ancestral energy around is protective. It is protective to call in ancestral spirits to be a part of your current home and your current hearth. Plant these for multiple reasons: for the spiritual, for the energetic, for the aromatic, and also for the bug repellent activities that it has. One last thing I'll say about companion planting is that while there is a lot of science showing why plants grow well together, you can also use your intuition and just see which plants grow best in your own garden. I have been tending gardens for over 20 years now, and I've learned so much by the process of doing it and just making mistakes, seeing what doesn't grow well together. For example, basil and rue do not grow well together. They'll kill each other off, and I've seen that happen. You'll learn by experience and seeing what works and what doesn't. I also think it's fun to experiment with growing herbs together that have similar medicine or similar energetics. Most plants do well together as long as they don't crowd each other out or compete for resources. Look into that when you're considering which plants to put together. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you follow your heart as you set out on your companion planting journey and watch and listen and see how the plants flourish when they're combined with herbs that really support their root growth and then their aerial growth, and really the protection that comes from the plants. All of these plants have beautiful volatile oils and color and meaning. So don't forget about the meaning. All right. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.